So this is the full descent of the Grassy Gap Trail in Beech Mountain. The video actually starts at the bottom of a staircase. I think that staircase may be rideable by some people, but there's actually a handrail for wider bars that would make it pretty difficult. So the video starts right at the bottom of that. This is a fall recording. Much of this is big, chunky rock gardens, so it's pretty hard to see a lot of that. But there's other parts that are more wide open. So when I rode this in the summer, parts of this I was going much faster, but definitely holding on to the brakes without being able to see these rocks a little bit better. So coming into this kind of rock bridge here, I actually missed the entrance there, partially because of the leaves and partially because I haven't ridden up on there that much. But I managed to kind of get through this gap and get on top of it for the second half. I'm riding a hardtail here. I'm riding a Fuse, so I have a 3-inch tire in the front, 2.6 in the back, and you can really see that I'm taking a lot of these bumps with my arm. I have 120 mil fork on it, so doing a lot of that work myself. In a season with better visibility, you can really be flying through here. It's pretty smooth. It's also quite steep, steeper than it looks, and so you can really open it up. Obviously, I can't see very well through the leaves, and so I'm holding back a little bit here. There's not a lot of climbing to be done here, but there is a little bit, and this is part of it here. So little climb, and then you kind of gain back on this ridge and back to the center of the run pretty quickly.
Okay.
You can tell by my speed in here that this is much chunkier than it looks. If it weren't fall, you could really see how chunky it is, especially on a hardtail. Because this is coming down the middle of this gully, there's a few places where it crosses these kind of old abandoned roads, and it's signed really well, so you can kind of just keep an eye on which way you need to go. In a few places, it kind of uses them as a shuttle to move from one side to the other. So here's a nice little climb here up this road. These roads are pretty cool, actually. If you have a gravel bike, they're pretty chunky for a gravel bike, but you can also use them to kind of get around. When you get to the bottom, some people will shuttle it. but I just use these roads to get back up, and so you can add about 1,500 feet of climbing. It's about a 1,000-foot descent, but in order to get back up on a gravel road, you add a little bit more than that. If you go straight up the paved road, you can come right back to the start much easier than that. But I find this fun. You can really fly through here in a different time of year, but they are pretty chunky. So in the fall, I was still taking it easy, not really wanting to go over the bars because of some silly little rock that you couldn't see. Again, one of the very few spots where you have some pedaling to do here. It's on pretty smooth road, so it's not too bad to do, but there's definitely a little bit of uphill to do. Again, if you just mind the signs there, the signs are on the right, they show you exactly where to go. All these roads kind of connect to each other, but if you're riding it for the downhill, you want to pay attention, follow the signs. And they'll show you where to go. There's some on the left right there. This is a funny spot because this is part of the road, but it's as chunky as anything, and also it's a little bit uphill, so you really want to pick your way through. It's pretty rideable if you do pick your way through. I've been there when big boulders have slid across from the flood and it hasn't been rideable, but it was pretty rideable there. Drop back into the regular trail. Again, just follow the signs. Nice little rock garden here. And then we're coming up on a part that is definitely rideable. I think it'd be hard in the leaves. It's a rock roll and a steep one, but the problem is there's an off-camber turn, and so I pull up short here. But you can definitely see it. It's an off-camber right-hand turn tight to a tree with tight bars. It doesn't look like much from there, but when you walk it, it's actually not this top section, it's the section underneath that's a little bit more difficult. So I went ahead and walked it here. So the video actually jumps to the bottom. For most of these, I tried to leave on the video for the walking if you can see it. Again, the hard part is the hard right turn at the bottom of it, not the rock roll itself. It's just an off-camber turn. A little berm would really make it pretty easy. There's also a tree there, a small tree, a sapling. If your bars are wide, it's going to be tough. Much of this is pretty rideable. Top seems rocky when you get going, but it actually gets much rockier towards the bottom. This is pretty loose. It's a fun challenge actually in the leaves because you can't tell what's stable and what's loose, and you're really getting chunked around a little bit. But this is a lot of fun. This wouldn't be as much fun if this was flat, but with a little bit of momentum because of the downhill. You're still pedaling, but you can really keep your momentum and keep rolling over this stuff. Again, super chunky through that section. The leaves may actually be helping because you're not overthinking it too much. This part, I think the trail's up on the left there, and I miss it, and I drop down into this little wet spot. It's all quite rideable. I'm not sure that's where you're supposed to be, though. But I make it out and rejoin the trail at the first start I can. Whoops. But yeah, lots of chunks. You're not overthinking it, maybe because all the leaves on the ground. Cool spot, all rideable. I actually misread the sign here, which is why I turned left, and then I turned off the camera because I thought, oh, I thought that was the trail. It's not there. It's back the other way. So I turned it off. Find it. It was actually just 5 yards to the right. Super pretty in the fall. Camera back on. Nice section. So you can tell this is an old roadbed, and the roadbed exists because this is basically the sewer easement. So you keep seeing these hole covers, these big steel hole covers for the sewer easement. And they actually, you can ride them as you get further down, but they're how you kind of keep, there's one on the left there. That's how you know you're on the trail for much of this. There's a little creek crossing coming up here, and I think there's a line. I think it's to the left right there, and I miss it and end up on top of this thing and decide not to just drop in there. Not knowing
Listen
how
on the
soft
trail.
it is.
Should have just ridden it.
I think even in the moment I just said that, I think I thought I could have ridden it, but I think the line is actually to the left. I just went ahead and jumped it. So this next section leads up to a bridge that isn't rideable. The handrail makes it too narrow to get your bars through, even if you had skinny bars. Part of the creek may be rideable, but I don't see it. I couldn't even walk my bike across it. I had to shoulder my bike. But I also, right before it, I had one of the loudest frame shots from a rock I think I've ever heard coming right up here.
Whoa.
Here we are trying to walk this bridge. There may be a route through the creek itself. I can't really tell. Easier here just to shoulder the bike and jump across and get back rolling again. Click in and we're off. Coming up on the other bridge here. This bridge is rideable. The on-ramp to it is pretty technical though. This rock garden would be tough, and then you're kind of entering on an angle here, and you're gonna have a pretty decent pull up and then straighten it out, but it's definitely doable. Once you're on the bridge, you can actually ride right off it. There's a little drop at the end, but nothing bad, and there's a little step down. All right, this is the home stretch, widening it out a little bit. Comes right down by the Buckeye Recreation Center out onto the pavement. You can turn right or left. It's all climbing from here if you're not shuttling it. I went to the right. The Jack Pine gives you a nice section of steep gravel, and then you can kind of piece it together from there. There's plenty of ways back to the top. But nice little ride, a little over 2 miles. That's it.